Let's rock this thing. All right, all right. Welcome in, everybody. Hope you're having an amazing day. Thanks for stopping by. My name is Garrett Shumake, and you're listening to the Shumake Take, and this is Shumake Take Rants, episode 4. And today I'm going to be ranting about how I hate the idea of can't miss prospects. I think this is a perfect time to do this, given the NFL draft is right around the corner here in a couple weeks. And if you're now listening to this, I just concluded the covering the NFL draft, covering prospects. I just got done covering linebackers and defensive backs. And I also did a full first round mock draft too, if you guys want to check that out as well. But now we got to get into can't miss prospects. They're overrated, and I hate it with a passion. The biggest one is we really don't know what a player is at the NFL level until after a few years, and we just don't know what they are until what they are. And also, it doesn't take account into the fact that a player might start off good and then fall off, or we doesn't account for the fact that some players might be bad at the start and then have a career resurgence. Talk about big names like Ryan Tannehill and Irving Fryer. Those are big names that come to mind in my head immediately. And the other thing too is we already put high enough expectation on these guys, and when you slap on the can't miss label, it almost seems like, yeah, like if they're not like a Hall of Famer, if they're not like, the bet like one of the greatest of all time, then it's a massive disappointment. And it's really not fair to put that type of pressure on a player. And I know it's the pros. I know that that's just the way it works. It's the politics of the sport. But it is really unfair to put these label on these prospects that are only, 20 to 23 years old, and they're expected to like be the savior of a franchise and just change all of the bad mojo going around there and turning it into a powerhouse. And it takes more than just that one player. So putting that label on that player is very unfair. But there are some more reasons why a can't miss prospect just not only do I hate not do I hate the term, it just does not exist. It simply does not exist. The big one is, and of course, it sadly has to be mentioned. The transition to the NFL from the college to the pros is very difficult. The NFL is simply faster, stronger in every way, and it's more complex. And just because a player dominated in college does not mean that they can handle the jumping competition. We've seen it time and time and time again every single year. And the next factor that goes into it is team situation. Just because you're a can't miss prospect, if you want to throw that label on, does not mean that you're going to turn a franchise around. It takes more than one player to turn everything around. And the reason why players are being picked at first overall, why these top prospects are being picked in the first couple spots, is because the teams that are picking them are bad. They are bad and have some form of dysfunction at an organizational level, whether it be something simple as a couple bad years, a couple bad injury luck, or something where the organization just does not know what the heck they're doing, a la Detroit Lions, Cleveland Browns, or Chicago Bears, although all three of them are actually trending upwards. Unironically. And as I mentioned, it's not all on one player. And with the dysfunction, scheme fit matters. Just because you're this highly touted prospect and you get picked to the team that wants you the most does not mean you're going to the team that best fits your skill set. And we've seen that a ton of times as well. While they might be the total package, depending on what the offensive defensive scheme is, it might limit their ability as a player, and they might be overrated based on pure talent without considering how they'll actually be used in their system. And also, there always is a risk of injury. A lot of key players that were picked in the top, like Andrew Luck, right? The NFL is a brutal sport, and even the most talented players can get hurt, and it can derail their career. And in turn, it sets back the franchise. And going back to the Andrew Luck thing, he immediately turned him into a playoff contender, and at one point they were Super Bowl contenders around the mid 2010s, but they couldn't build an offensive line around him. He got hurt a ton, and he ended up retiring because of it. And it was very sad because he literally was. I think he could have brought the Colts and won them a Super Bowl. I think he could have if they had, considering all he did with the lack of talent around him. You actually get if you would have actually given him a competent offensive line and consistently good receivers outside of T.Y. Hilton, he probably would have won them a Super Bowl. I mean, he got them to the AFC Championship. Just imagine what he would have had if he just had what he would have done if he had better talent. And also, there's always countless examples of highly touted prospects who simply don't pan out for all of these reasons. And another thing too is sometimes teams will get blinded by a player's potential and overlook their weaknesses. And because they have a high ceiling and might have high upside, they overlook the potential of being a well-rounded player that could probably, they might overrate a player that could probably be more successful over the guy that has high upside, and the guy with high upside does not work out. And the culmination of everything, and the biggest, most important thing about can't miss prospects not being real and me hating the term is that NFL teams don't know what they're doing. They simply do not have a full understanding of what they're doing. And before people go bashing me and go attacking me in the comments saying that, oh, the 49ers, they're great at drafting. And yes, they are. They've hit they've hit on a ton of their draft picks, especially in recent years. But here's the thing. No, it's not an exact science. No one knows what they're doing. If everyone knew what they were doing, every high pick would be hits. Every late round pick would not be good, more than likely. But also, parity in the NFL would be almost exactly even. And that's simply not the case. There's a reason why teams like Chicago, Washington, New England are picking top 3 compared to Kansas City, Baltimore, and San Francisco picking in the 30s because they were just in the conference championship and or the Super Bowl. And I want to get into a couple numbers here, kind of showing that just because, kind of pretty much further proving that can't miss prospects aren't real. And we're going to use the number 1 overall pick as a prime example because that's usually where they fall or where they land, because they don't fall because they're picking first. But looking at 88 number 1 overall picks since 1936, 39 out of 88, which is only 44%, turned out to be Pro Bowlers. So if you're picking a player at number 1 overall, you don't even have a 50% chance of that player becoming a Pro Bowler. More often than not, they're not going to be that, which is a very low number. And it gets lower, and 14 out of 88 players were Hall of Famers, which is I think I just said it, 15%. And you want to talk about, can't miss prospect. You put on this label on them that if they don't win the Super Bowl, if they don't become the generational player people think they're going to be, it's an absolute disappointment. Well, guess what? When you have the opportunity to pick these generational guys, you only have a 15% chance of them actually turning into that type of a player. And in total, when you combine these two, 53 out of 88 is 60%, meaning you have a 60% chance of your number 1 pick becoming a Pro Bowler or a Hall of Famer. But that we're talking about from 1936. That's 80. That's that's 88 years, almost 90 years of time. So let's go a little bit more recent. Since the year 2000, 18 out of, wait, what the heck? Give me 1 second. This is a little weird. I'm going to have to double check. This doesn't look right. I'm going to make a quick jump and I will be right back. I am so sorry. Okay, sorry about that. So I fixed the number.